the occupation. We love it.
Hi, we have the kids of the occupation. They're good kids. My name is Mike Modern. I'm a Democratic Socialist, and I say, who would Jesus tax? Who would Jesus tax, I say?
Exactly.
That's true.
Thanks for coming down here, man.
Told you, man.
We're the 99% of the people who work and pay taxes in this country, and while we're being saddled with student loan debt, mortgage debt, and also credit card debt, and while the 1% who control the banks benefit of us by interest rates, they don't pay taxes. They send all the taxes to tax shelters such as Cayman Islands and Switzerland, and I'd really like to see more social justice. It's been in scriptures, it's been throughout the generations. The American people need to have an equitable society, a more fair society where the rich, whether you're rich or poor, you can raise your family in dignity.
And I'm here because we are a large percentage of that 99%. And this is not a diverse group. And you don't see a diverse group here. Which is one of the reasons why I keep coming. Because if you don't stand up, then you can't complain about the result. And so I'm here because there's a lot of legitimacy in this movement. And it's not just all white hippies, although I resent even that, because in the 60s, the civil rights movement couldn't have survived without these hippies.
Yeah, right.
They're the ones that got on the bus to Selma and to Montgomery and Birmingham, got tear gassed and got their heads busted.
Wow.
So when people talk about these white young hippies disparagingly, I get offended by it. Yeah.
What would you say to the African American community to encourage them to come out to occupy Buffalo? Just my opinion.
Okay. I'm not from Buffalo. I spent 15 years in Canada and all over. But anyways, the issues that this movement's confronting, high unemployment, the fact that the national average is considered a crisis because it's at 9%. Well, the unemployment rate in the African American community, and this is according to the U.S. Department of Labor, is twice that much. What does that make it? If 9% is a crisis, hello, and then U.S. Department of Labor, our 19 to 24-year-olds, the unemployment rate, 41%. So what I say to them is, when I speak, again, the value of participation. But the issues that they're dealing with are issues that we've been dealing with for decades. And so you say to them, you coming down here for what? Why am going to come down there, right? And again, they see it as not about how they're being affected, that the people who control the money, and I don't care if you have $1 trillion or $1 billion, but when you use it to affect my standard of living and my life, and the lives of my children or my nieces and nephews, then I have a real problem with that. When you offer war as an option to unemployment, let me ask you something. Who's fighting these wars? It's the poor. And poverty is colorblind. It's the poor. They go into these schools and they tell these kids, 18 years old, you know, here's a job, here's a paycheck, you're gonna get an education, you're gonna get medical care, blah, 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 right? And then they come back here. One guy was here, he came back, he served 2 tours in Iraq, he was homeless. Now to me that is a disgrace, okay? And so I said to him, I don't question your loyalty or your or anything, but if you could have gone to college, if you could have afforded to go to college, if you could have had a job waiting for you when you graduated from high school, would you have enlisted? He said, no, I would have pursued an art career. And what a phenomenal waste.
Yeah.
But again, you know what? I know it sounds real paranoid, but I wouldn't put it past the establishment. It's in their best interest to keep the unemployment rate high.
Oh, yeah.
Because let me tell you something, who would fight their wars if they didn't?
Exactly.
They'd have to reinstitute the draft. Who would go?
Yeah.
Okay? Who would go?
Yeah, you're right.
All right?
Absolutely.
So it's in their interest to keep the unemployment rate high.
Yeah.
And you know, then Obama's got the nerve to offer corporations a tax break if they hire veterans. What kind of nonsense is that? They should be tripping over themselves
Yeah, they're tired.
to hire.
Yeah.
You know, because when they die at 20 years old, they go, oh, you know, he died for our country.
Come back with one less leg, one less arm, or something.
And most of them have mental problems.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go into a war zone 2-3 times and deploy 2-3 times and not expect these young impressionable men to have. And then they come. This guy that was down here, he's young white, probably in his 30s. He's got shrapnel on his face still. He's been waiting 2 years for an operation on his knees. This is the same one that spent 2 years in Iraq and came back homeless. Isn't that a damn shame? Isn't it? Isn't it? He was living in the street. Okay? And, yep, living in the street. Yep. And so when I, you know, I said, you know what? But again, we're offering war as an option to unemployment. What do these boys, what do these kids know? What do they know?
They figure that's the only way out, you know? That's the only way out, so they kind of pressure them into going to the war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go, you know, what if I come down to Niagara Square? Nothing's going to change. In fact, you know what? I seriously believe that as citizens of this country, African Americans are worse off than they were 50 years ago.
Wow.
I sincerely believe that. Because you know what happens? What's happened now is you don't need the KKK or the ultra-conservatives. Because you know what they're doing now? They're using the First and Fourth Amendment. Okay? That's what they're using. The First and Fourth Amendment. Freedom of speech. Call you a nigger in a heartbeat. But hey, that's freedom of speech. Obama's been disrespected more than any other president in our history. And you know something? I need to hear the Tom Joyners and the Morials. That I need to hear these people step up.
Yeah, right. Right.
And I don't.
And speak up for it, you know, because I know they know what's going on. Too.
Regardless of his politics, he's still the president of the United States. Okay? I mean, look at Nixon, how despised he was. But yet, they can make fun of his children, they can make fun of his wife, him, and, oh, well, you know, they hide it now in the cloak of freedom of speech.